Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Social Isolation Get Ready With Me number 6, I think. We've just finished, I think, week 6 of Social Isolation. So this week I asked if you guys wanted me to use the ColourPop It's My Pleasure palette or the Ooh La La palette. And this one was the closest I've had yet. 61% in favor of the It's My Pleasure palette, so that's exactly what I'm going to be using today. I have a lovely zit growing in the middle of my eyebrow. Do you know how irritating that is? I have poked at that sucker so many times just trying to rip it out because that's what I do with zits. I'm not very patient with them. It's fighting me. It's definitely fighting me. Because I don't get a lot of zits, my gut reaction is just to rip them out of my face. And I know that is probably the worst thing to do, but I've always been like that. With bug bites or zits or anything like that, I would rather tear it out of my skin and turn it into a scab because scabs heal really well on me. Wow, this video is starting off like something else. Probably no one needed to know that kind of detail about me. So I'm just applying my eye primers, but just a reminder, if you are curious about anything that I'm applying to my face, please always check the description box down below. I put every single item that is on my face down there. Okay, it's my pleasure. I want to do something a little bit lighter for once with this. I feel like I generally tend to stick towards like a shimmery type pale color on the lid and then something a little bit deeper on the outer corner. But I want to try to keep it fairly muted. So I'm going to stay away from, oh, can I do it? I'm going to stay away from Sleeper and any of the darker colors and just try to really make a soft, muted, purpley pink look. All right, so I'm going to first start off with Kitten Fish on a fluffy brush and put that through the crease. Holy cow, ColourPop never disappoints me in terms of pigment, but I'm always surprised when a color like that shows up so vibrantly on my eye. I never really expected. Okay, for my next color, I'm going to go a little bit deeper, but again, staying away from totally deep tones. I'm going to take Fan Fiction. It's a great name. I used to read a ton of fan fiction back in my like Buffy days. Read Buffy fan fiction, a lot of Dark Angel stuff as well. I read a lot of it, and one of the most annoying things about it, and this is probably true of fan fiction across any fandom, was the people who would start an amazing story and then just never finish it. And you would wait like sometimes years and they never got to the end of their story. And I'm like, why? I wanted to know what happened. Okay, anyway, fan fiction. I'm going to take that on this Real Techniques base shadow brush. And I'm just putting that below the crease color. This shade's a lot more pink than the one I put through the crease. And I'm going to pull that down here, and then somehow I'm going to force myself to not darken that area up. I wouldn't say I'm like in a rut with my makeup, but I definitely use the same kind of technique all the time. And sometimes I just want to try something a little bit different. Not much, because I like my own technique, I guess you could say. But sometimes I want to see something a little bit different on my own eyes. I see a lot of people sometimes commenting on other people's YouTube videos saying, oh, you never do anything different with your eyeshadow. You never try any different techniques. Does it matter? I always think if you like what you're doing on yourself, it really doesn't matter. Like, I know people think of like makeup YouTubers as like teachers, but we're not. Most of us are not trained in any of this. I certainly am not. I don't know how to do makeup on anybody else's face. I only sort of really know how to do it on my own. And I know what I like on myself. So that's usually what I try to put out in videos. So I'm teaching what I know how to do, I guess you could say, but I don't really know a lot of tips and tricks like real trained makeup artists have in their arsenal. Okay. That's pretty. Now I'm going to go with the lid shade, and this is the color I'm the most excited about because it's such a gorgeous color. I'm going to take Earth Shine, and it's so funny, in the viewfinder right now, it's more of a purple with a silver pearl finish, but if you change, how am I going to get this to show? Like, to me, from this angle, I'm getting, oh, maybe that's fine. There we go. It's more of a purple shot through with, like, pink. So pretty. Anyway, on a flat shader brush, I'm just going directly in and applying that directly to the lid. It is a little bit translucent, so I think I'm gonna have to use quite a few layers to build this up. So I think well, I know the Sephora sale is going on right now, and I'm pretty sure it's been extended for quite a while this year. And I made such a fuss about not going to order anything, and then I ordered something. As I've said before, I'm on a no buy right now. I'm only on a repurchase or buy items if I run out of things. And I am currently in the midst of running out of facial moisturizer. I have one tube left, and when that's done, I got nothing. So I put an order in at Sephora for the Sephora collection face moisturizers because they're really nice. It's been a few years since I've used them, but I can't wait to use them again. And then the other thing that I ordered is so astronomically expensive, but I got it because I know it works on Milia, and I'm developing one right here. It's funny, it doesn't actually look that big right now, but you can kind of see it right there. And the only thing that I have used before that gets rid of Milia, or Milium, I think Milium is the singular one, on my lash line is to use that Dr. Brandt Microderm Abrasion Scrub. But let me tell you, it is unbelievably expensive. One tube of this freaking thing is $104 Canadian, and it makes me choke thinking about that price tag on it. But with the Sephora discount, at least, you know, I'm bringing it down out of the $100 range. It's still ridiculous. It's astronomical how much this thing costs. But years ago, I had a small little sample size tube from Ipsy of it, and I used it on Amelia that I had on the outer corner of my eye, and after a week, it crystallized and then popped out of my face. And I was like, but this is amazing if I don't have to go to the doctor to get those removed or like lanced out of my skin. So I did a blog post about this ages ago. I can link to it down below on how exactly I did it. But I bit the bullet and ordered it this time because I know it's gonna work for me. And I've tried a few other scrubs in my arsenal, and they weren't removing this sucker. So yeah, I spent a ridiculous amount on that stupid thing. Sephora's a little bit backlogged on their orders though, just out of, I guess, COVID-19 shipping and all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably not going to get it until the middle of May, but that's fine. I can wait. Okay, this feels very pale to me, but I like the appearance of it. However, I think I'm going to add a little bit more to the outer corner with Fan Fiction again, just to sort of blend that in. Since I have no brow bone highlight shade in this palette, I'm just going in with my Wet n Wild single and popping that up here. So I kind of went back and forth on if I'm going to do a wing liner on this or not, but I pretty much decided I'm going to stick with my usual and do a wing, so I'm using my Physicians Formula Eye Booster for that. Well, I didn't intend to keep it very small, but we're just going to stick with the tiny one today. Alright, that is it for the eyes right now. I'm going to zoom you out and we'll do the rest of the face and then come back to the eyes. Alright, for foundation, I wanted to keep it relatively light because the eyes are lighter overall and I didn't want just a mask across my face, so I'm going to be using one of my favorites. This is the Boots No. 7 Instant Radiance Foundation, and the shade is Calico. I've been running a little bit more lately, which is so nice. Just getting back into it feels amazing. Although it's funny, my muscles are hurting in areas that I never expected. Like the outside area of my calf is killing me, and I think it's just because I'm not used to running very much or even walking anywhere now, which is a little bit depressing. But the thing that I'm loving about running outside is that my freckles are starting to come back out, and I freaking love my freckles. I have never been one of those people who hates them and wants to cover them up. So when I can get a foundation like this, it's a little bit more translucent and my freckles shine through, I'm so happy about it. I know there was a time when people were trying to like cover their freckles all the time, and I never understood it. I never got it. Why would somebody want to cover those? I just think they're so freaking cute. And I know there's this huge trend now to like put them on your face, which people who used to cover their freckles were finding it kind of offensive that people were adding freckles on. I don't think it's offensive. Add freckles to your face if you want. But I was just so amused at the fact that people were annoyed that people were adding fake freckles to their face. Because I guess they felt that they always had to cover them up because they weren't cute or whatever. But man, I have always loved them. And they're especially freaking stunning on redheads. Oh, so pretty. But yeah, the weather's been a little bit iffy here in Toronto. It was oddly snowing at like 4 degrees the other day, which made absolutely no sense. It was snowing. Today is a little bit warmer, but it's been raining. We've had a few good days where the temperature has been nice enough to run outside without really needing to wear too much gear, which is great because I hate wearing jackets and stuff when I'm running. But I'm back to doing at least a 5K run, and I'm going to start building back up from that. Because that first week that I went back to running after having not been able to for, I guess, 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks because I was sick, was rough. It was not easy on the lungs. My muscles didn't necessarily hurt so much except for the outer edge of my calf. But my lung capacity was shot. That was bad. For bronzer, I'm going to use one I haven't pulled out in a while. Oh, cat hair. Yep. Oh, cat. Cat hair in the foundation is one of the most ticklish, annoying things ever. It drives me nuts. Okay, for bronzer, I'm going to be using my Fenty Beauty Into Sun bronzer. Haven't used this in quite a while. Did really enjoy it. Don't know why I stopped using it. So let's bust it back out for today. And I wanted to use a powder after last week's Milk Makeup Cream bronzer nonsense where I just had like those streaks I had to blend out forever. It looked fine in the end, but when I first put that on my face, I was a little bit concerned. For blush, I wasn't really sure what color was going to work with this, so I grabbed my Too Faced Love Flush blush palette. And I was initially thinking, which one? This guy over here. And yeah, I think that will match with my eyeshadow. So this shade is Justify My Love. And that was a bit much. Man, I go heavy-handed with the blush sometimes. Some people have a knack for applying it, but I always feel like I just like chunk it on my face. For highlighter, I'm going to be using one of my favorites by Wet n Wild. This was part of their Zodiac collection, and this is the loose highlighting powder in the shade Written in the Stars. I am not sure if they brought this one back out, but it's really gorgeous, and I'm so scared about like tilting this everywhere. There's little stars for the sifter. It's so cute. Anyway, I never use what's in there because there's way too much product. I just grab whatever's on the cap, and even that is way too much. So just dip into there. Tap it off because that's going to be a lot. Oh, it's just so freaking pretty. Look at that. Man, that's gorgeous. Oh, there we go. That's a lot. I know Wet n Wild did come out with a bunch of loose highlighters as part of their permanent range, and I hope this shade is in there. But honestly, all of the loose highlighters by Wet n Wild are so gorgeous. I've got another one from their like, called like Gothographic collection. That one's stunning too. Love this one. I don't love loose powders as a whole just because they're so messy, but I make an exception for these just because they're so freaking gorgeous. Okay, for the lower lash line, we're going to keep it fairly simple. Just going to go in with Fan Fiction on a relatively large fluffy brush, and I just want to add that below the lower lash line, but be like kind of sloppy about it. I just want a haze of purple down here. Okay, eyes are pretty much done. I'm just going to pop on some mascara using my Benefit Bad Gal Bang mascara. Some lashes, I'll do my brows, and then I'll come back and we'll finish off the lips. Okay, all of that is done. In case I didn't mention it, the lashes are Socialize Desire lashes, and they're really fluffy but kind of small too, which is nice because I don't love eyelashes when they like tickle your eyebrows because they're too long. So for lips, I took 2 colors out because I wasn't sure which one was going to match properly. They're both by Clinique. They are their like the pop lip glaze things. So I got Sprinkle Pop here and Licorice Pop, and I think this one's going to be better, and this one's a Sprinkle Pop. A little bit more pink than I expected. I want a bit more purple to match with the eyeshadows. So I'm going to take a little bit of Licorice Pop and then just mix that in. This one comes across very dark in the tube, but it is quite sheer. Yeah, that made it a little bit more purple. Okay. Okay, so that's a little bit of a simple look with the ColourPop It's My Pleasure palette. It was nice just to do something a little bit lighter for once because I do tend to be quite heavy-handed and I feel like this is just pretty for spring. Not that we're going anywhere. I know I only used 3 colors in here, but I did want something a little bit softer overall, so I'm pretty happy with how this came out. If you are interested in voting on the palettes that I'm going to be using every week, I do post it on Instagram stories and I choose 2 palettes and I let you guys pick which one you want to see most. And this one was a close one. The It's My Pleasure was fairly close to the Ooh La La palette. I do think it's a lot of fun having you guys vote on which palette I'm using that week. So that's going to be it for week 6. Not too much to chat about this week. I don't feel like much occurred really, but I'm sure that's true of a lot of people who are just staying at home right now. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye!